Good morning, ladies. My name is Chaz, and welcome to the What If Him Zuko had the power of poison shadows. So, if you guys don't know what poison shadows are, it's a fusion of two Del fruit from One Piece, venom fruit, and shadow fruit. So basically, it has similar properties to shadow fruit, where you can control shadows, but mixed with poison. So basically, your shadow is can become, or you can control any shadows. Like you could turn your shadow into a Hydra, or into a demon monster thing, or into a normal shadow. But with a poison shadow, it takes like properties of taking like shadows, like different custom shadows, and like put it into any one. It will fuse with them, but you can control them. Um, and if they disobey him, then they get a terrible or even worse poison in their entire life, entire existence, for the rest of their lives. There won't be an antidote for them. Yeah, trust. Yeah. So, yeah, it's it will be. Thing is, the shadow fruit by itself is pretty overpowered, but not as much as the poison shadow. Yeah, still has similar properties as the poison fruit thing, but you can go into your shadow, and teleport through someone else's shadow, or like, yeah. So I had to explain it before we do this what if. So yeah, and plus when plus Zuko is made out of shadows. So yeah, any damage that he takes like the bullet through the stomach, like what he is, instead of like, or he regenerates way more powerful than the, yeah. Okay? So, yeah. He ends up walking around. Yeah. He could be walking around with like a demon as his shadows, and if someone makes him upset, boom, yeah. That creature comes out and tears the villains that, or someone to shreds. Okay? And plus, I forgot to mention, plus the user, there's not just when the poison shadow into someone else's body, it also turns them into like, because if I said this before, could be controlled by him, by Zuko, But if the person that was like equipped with that poison shadow doesn't obey, that's what happens. Not even and like right out. It would be like it takes place at night and all that stuff. Yeah. So let's begin. So Zuko and Zumi were born, and I usually have this habit of like that. So the at age of 3, and don't worry, his parents are still alive, so I'm not gonna be like, oh, after Zuko was born, he was the last person other than Zumi that killed his parents. Because I'm not gonna activate his powers until he was 3 years old. It's his abilities, not his quirk. His quirk is fire manipulation. So basically, he has the shadows that could, and he's also immune to like attacks of shadows or the poison. If someone tries to poison him, and like he might end up like keeps drinking it. Okay? So, yeah. Huh. So, oh, yeah. So, at age of 3, he had Bakugo and Zuko and Ochako and Momo and Zumi were like playing ball. As let's say Zuko was gonna get the ball from across the street because it rolled. As the as let's say the armored truck was about to, or it got hijacked from the, how do you say that name, by the villains, and they were driving supersonic speeds. As Zuko who turns, as something came out of nowhere, like a monster, I'm sure a shadow came right underneath the armored truck and pole vaulted over Zuko's. Yeah. And Zuko, who was like, what the heck just happened? And Zuko, who everyone was stunned. Like, what just happened? And, yeah. Or, actually, scratch that about the pole vaulted. Let's say this demon creature came out of his shadows when he was about to get killed. And the hand just swiped the armored truck away. As it melted the armored truck and and it went back into Zuko's body. Funny, like, whew. That was scary. And he got the ball. Oh, and his friends were like, dude, what was that? Is that your quirk? Usually you have to wait until as Momo says, that is probably not a quirk. I think that was a ability. Because usually the abilities manifest before the quirks. We just saw his attribute of poison shadows. Yeah. Yeah, so yeah. Let's yeah. So Zuko had poison shadow as they're like, man. So you're basically hey, poison shadow man. Yeah. So yeah, then Zumi's like, man, when they were walking back to their house, he there or Zumi's like, man, I can't believe that you have this power ability. Zuko, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I think it's cool too. So then at age of 4, they went to Quark Doctor and they basically the Quark Doctor tells Zumi that she has fire manipulation and of course Earth basically is happy. And plus Zuko so then the Quark Doctor says, well, you don't have a quirk. So he lied right there. So Zuko does have a quirk, but yeah. Guess you're stuck with the ability of poison shadows. There's Zuko, as Inko says. That's okay. So, as the Quark Doctor says, what? As a little, or as he shows a little version of that creature, but just a small enough as a human size. As he, I really don't touch him. He's made out of poison, and he's also part of my shadow. This is what it looks like. Is there like, he's like, what the heck am I looking at? This is a small version, right? Yeah. Man, that's is cool, Zuko. So this is your ability. So, yeah. So then the Inko and Sashi and Zumi and Zuko went home. And they did not abandon Zuko because that would have been reckless of them. So then they trained Zuko and Zumi how to use their quirk and ability. Abilities. Like Zuko, who produced like poison out of his own body. And controls it. Owns it like if it was part of his body. Yeah. So then, yeah, he even like put a barrier around him. Yeah. So then Zuko ends up how will it work? So then Zuko ends up, or everybody's like, what was your quirk? I don't have one. You're telling me that you have the ability to produce poison shadows out of your body, and you who don't have a quirk? Man, that's crazy. When you're overpowered as it is. Because in this alternate timeline, whoever has the normally humans have quirks or abilities, never both. Because both types are forbidden. Not banned, but how will I put this? They don't exist until, but Zuko was in the forest away from everybody to train on by himself. Well, yeah. But he also, can, because somehow he feels, because his quirk finally activated, and his friend Bakugo was captured by, or no, actually, yeah, Bakugo got captured. Izuku was showed up, and Izuku who says, "No, let my friends go." As the flames were like all the way around. So at this time, Zumi met All Might, and All Might gave her one for all. Quirk. So then, so Zuko tells, as Zuko uses his power, as there's a lot of flames, as he says, I really want my sister to be with me. As then somehow his quirk activated, as the flames formed in the ball. As it turned into a snake first of all, and because of Zuko's will, power triggered it, and so he basically controlled it. And similar with poison shadow. So he controls it, like he throws the shadow at him, like that sludge villain. Because no matter if it was the human or so the sludge villain and was like laughing like, ha, what are you gonna do? And Zuko says, I got this, Dead Arms. I'm not going to do anything too crazy. Not going to get myself killed by this guy. Give us Bakugo back. Huh. No way. As his entire body, the sludge villain's entire body got obliterated. Like, he's screaming. And, yeah. Bakugo wasn't even harmed by it. And everyone was like, holy crud. Ezuku says, I did not mean to do that. I meant to ask him politely to give. Man, I think my power of Poison Shadow is kind of overpowered. As Dead Arms looks at him, wait, so your ability is Poison Shadows? Oh my goodness. That's why it's yeah. So, yeah, because of it was mixed with the poison part. But this is a funny part that Zuko didn't know. That when poison fused with somebody, like when they fuse with a person, and it also copies their personality, their quirks or abilities or attributes, puts it inside Zuko's body. So basically, Zuko ends up having the same traits as the sludge villain. But instead of sludge, it's poison thing. Yeah. I did a lot of my research. So, yeah. Zuko was, like, he tells him that the man, yeah, so you're pretty powerful. As Dead Arms admits, like, man, Bakugo's like, yeah, you're pretty powerful with that ability. How does your ability work? I'm still, like, learning how to control my abilities. But I do know that if I can use shadows like mine to create that creatures, like, and I can take damage, or I'm unaffected by poison. So if someone tries to poison me, then I will end up not be affected by it. I'm unaffected by it. So yeah. So Zuko explains, calmer voice, but not like mumbling like what he does. So, yeah. But that move, I did not realize that I could use that same move on someone else. Like, I can use my poison shadow to go into, like, someone else's body, like that sludge villain. Yeah. I thought it's gonna take control, and if they don't obey him, or if they do obey, like mind control. But I did not expect, as he says, I did not expect if a person disobeys, then yeah. So then, yeah. So basically, yeah. And they agree, like, man, you didn't know that her poison shadow could destroy a person if they disobey? Yeah. If they do, they'll be fine and the poison will come out. Okay? So, yeah, Zuko knows only half the abilities that he has. But he could switch out his real self with the poison, like, version of himself. Like, say if he was in a tight spot and he used poison to, like, teleport out of there, or like switch places. Plus, it's long range, so he could just, like, be right next to All for One and straight up use his monstrous form to, like, melt him all the way out of existence. Yeah. So, yeah. So then yeah. So, yeah. So Zuko, at 15, he joins UA. And, yeah, Zuko, who can... So they thought he was going to be, like, super weak. Like, the quirks. He was lacking in quirk department. But then they put him in class 1B. Because of, yeah, they thought he was weak. But then, of course, Zumi got class 1A. And so I'm skipping the ball throw. No. And the heroes versus villains. Zuko as a villain thing, though, in that thing, was pretty hilarious. As the class 1B students, like, it was Pony and the not Big Hands girl, I forget her name, though, that white haired girl. It was, or let's say Pony and one of the, or let's say Pony and Beast Boy, or whatever his name is, Beast Man. I'm trying to think. No, give me a minute to. Because I know it's somewhere, but I don't remember where. Or let's say a mushroom girl and the pony. I know that's a bad combination, but when them being heroes, and Zuko and the um, poison girl. I forget her name. Or no, not poison. the I meant mushroom girl. Or no. So mushroom girl and I'm trying to think. Mushroom girl and Pony were heroes, and Zuko and the that dark guy where hold on. This guy. He was working together as a heroes or no as a villains. And yeah. Zuko tells them like he literally told him to just stand back and I'll go down myself. So then so Pony and Mushroom Girl ends up like we're walking in and they both could smell like burning rubber as like poison gases as they were like, man. But then when they walk up further, then they see this big behemoth guy. He looking right at them with as Mushroom Girl and Pony were scared out of their minds as they could not believe that this creature or one of the classmates was, and everyone was like, holy crud. And as everyone or all the like senses of the Pony and Mushroom Girl end up screaming run as they start running the opposite direction. And as they followed him, or no, he follows them. As the villains, so then they're like, yeah. So Mushroom Girl was like, dang. Or actually, let's say Blood Hero says, dang. As they could not believe as they were surrounded as they were surrounded by these smaller versions of itself. As a monster starts giggling. My poison trap. You can't get away from us. As they could not believe it. As as the villains, or no, as the Blood Hero says, or before they like got consumed by the poison, and they're like, okay. And let's say timer was up. So Zuko, who or his villain's team, wins. As yeah, man, you have a pretty overpowered move, Zuko. Yeah, I usually have that habit of doing, okay, adding, okay, and so his superhero outfit is like he can is poison shield thing, like his body armor is poison resistant. So basically, he can. It labels, or it was because he has offense, defense, and he could produce his own, or he turns into it. So he decides to just wear normal clothes. Like a t-shirt and the underwear or and pants and yeah. Is there like, why aren't you dressed up? I am hunting because I can turn into poison. Do you want to see? As he turns into poison, and as they're like, man, and yeah, and the armor just slows. I I don't have like really good padding on for my like I was gonna create a suit thing, but I was like would been making like something that's poison resistant. Okay, so yeah, then they were like, "Don't worry, Zuko, we'll figure out about yours." Okay, so then Zuko ends up agrees and so Zuko's so then at USJ, let's say Class 1B and Class 1A work together. So Zuko ends up landed in with his sister. As his sister says, "It's good to see you, oh brother." Okay? And he says, okay? Basically, Zuko has a plan. So the Nomu blocks Zumi's attack, and right before right before the monster grabs Zumi's hand or arm to like toss him away or toss her away, as a poison shadow thing, this part went into the Nomu's body as it got like rewind itself, like the obedience chip that was inside got rewired to listen to Zuko's command. Let my sister go. As he says, as poison, as Shraki-sen says, Nomu, get your man, get your back here and kill those. As he still has the original programming thing, is that he disobeys Zuko, and yeah, then the Nomu was killed in an instant. No regeneration, no, like, none of that stuff. Yeah, Zuko ends up, yeah, um, Zuko ends up being a, you know, instant win. Hmm. As as Shraki-sen says, you, and Zuko's body turns to like poison, as when Singin and that the Shraki-sen came into contact with all five of his fingers, but it went right through as poison went into his body, and yeah, as as Shraki-sen screaming ah as poison was going through his body. Yeah. So then, yeah, Kirigiri teleports Shraki-sen back to, or teleports him to the Quirk Doctor's office, and yeah, for an antidote thing, and yeah, the villains were like, man, sorry. So then I'm skipping the sports festival and the internship because everyone wants him to be on their team. And then yeah, team, team, yeah. So Zuko ends up. So now we're on to All Might versus All for One. And the whole arc. So he basically Zuko. So All Might was down but not out, as he says, huh? Or any last words? Yeah. Go ahead, Zuko. Show them. As All for One says, who's Zuko? As out of nowhere, a monstrous three-headed dragon mixed with a monster like him, um, this guy right here, ends up winning and pushed All for One back. And as the voice of Zuko says, what's wrong? You can't handle this much poison? As Zuko's poison went into All for One, as All Might was about to, or no, not All Might, All for One was about to shoot the laser at Zuko, but he got instantly burnt because he didn't give a command to like attack him. So yeah, but he learns how to use his powers without, yeah. So yeah, basically, Zuko won against. As they're like, man, All Might probably softened him up, and yeah. So yeah, and plus was enough poison inside All for One's body, and he killed him in an instant. Yeah. So then the villains, all of the villains like Toga, Twice, Dobby, and yeah, like those ones, end up coming in, or except for Toga, because she has now seen why Zuko is the most scariest person in the world. Because her friends that she used to know before she went crazy, that told her about this, there's this kid that has the power of the poison shadows, that he could kill anyone. His body is made out of poison, and he's one scary dude that you do not want to cross. Plus, if he puts his poison shadows inside someone's body, you lost your freedom of moving around by yourself. You have to obey his commands. If you don't, you'll be dead in less than a second or nanosecond. That's pretty fast. As Toga heard that, at first she thought she didn't, or he, or people making this stuff up. But when she actually saw what he can do, she's like, I'm gonna find that picture of what she would look like with just. And she's like, oh boy. Name. As, yeah. Plus, then the villains, remaining villains, like Twice, or actually Twice, and Toga realized that. Why the student is so fear or scary when he. So Toga and Twice snuck away from the fight. But Magnus and the rest of them were down for a fight. And they all like came in. And Zuko, I keep hitting the wrong button. Zuko ends up taking care of them in about nanoseconds. All of them were just like how Luffy is, all passed out. Oh. Like, as everyone was like, yeah, we will never mess with that kid. As all the villains agree, including the pro heroes, like Gran Torino agrees that, man. And so then the Nezu ends up like agrees with them, but he also tells himself to bump Zuko up to class 1A. So he does bump Zuko up to class 1A. With his sister. Yeah. So then the, overhaul fight thing. Because Zuko is the scariest person that you do not want to meet in this what if. So, yeah. Zuko, knocks at a door. Or actually, let's say Dark Shadow, or no, not Dark Shadow, Poison Shadow, tells him that people are ready to bust through that door. As Zuko uses his arm to stretch out, um, like how Poison Guy used his arm to stretch. Yeah. Well, Zuko used it to melt a door. Or, or goes over and like, as they're like, oh crud, it's him. As they all start running back. And some of them are confused of why, why are you guys running from? As one of the villains says, if you want a death wish, go be my guest, because you stand no chance against him. Who's him? As when they said Zuko Midoriya, the Poison Man, and oh crud, you're right. As they all start running, and then as the pro heroes like Mirio and everybody doesn't understand why Zuko is the most scariest person in the entire world, except so Zuko ends up or so Mirio was like he plus he can shapeshift into like the into like a size of a small person inside. As Mirio tells Zuko or walks with Zuko as they're like, why is he or why are you the scariest person that the villains or anyone is afraid of? It's my when they called me Poison Man, they were referring to my poison shadow. What does that do? As Mr. Aizawa says, it allows the user like Zuko to have like shadows that are poisonous to others. He basically is too powerful to be like yeah. So they were walking, and when they saw Zuko, they were like, "Go this way." Hey, because they ran away from him, because they were like, they start like, yeah, because they do not want to meet the monster that took out All for One and the entire League of Villains without, or almost the entire League of Villains, as Himigo Toga and Twice decided to like stay away from Zuko as much as possible. Well, because they don't know his gentle side, so he might look mean and vicious, but yeah. So what do? They go to some other side of a world, like other side of a city, or like the country. And you know what they did? Twice and Toga got married. And they were happy to do, or they're happy to do this, or to do to do that. Oh. So, yeah, Zuko. Yeah. So then, as little Miss Aries heard about this, this guy Zuko's scary nature. But when Zuko finally shows up and Overhaul was like, if I go down, I'll go down fighting. And Zuko tells Mario to take Aries away. Or Aries away. So, and yeah. So then, so now, please wait for part 2 to be filmed.